Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NAESP Principal Podcast. My name is Liz Garden. I am a co-fellow for NAESP Center for Innovative Leadership, and I am excited to be joined with my co-fellow over in Colorado. I will let him introduce himself.
Hey everybody, Scott McLeod, Professor of School Leadership at University of Colorado, Denver. And we are very excited today to have our guest, Beth Foster. Beth is the principal at Anderson Mill Elementary School in Moore, South Carolina. And one of the things you should know about South Carolina, if you don't, is that they are one of 4 states that has a statewide profile of a graduate that's leaning into more innovative, future-ready, college career-ready stuff. Beth may reference some of that as we go along. So, I think one of the reasons we're excited to have Beth with us today is simply because her school is ahead of the curve in terms of being ready and preparing kids for that new statewide profile. So we have a lot to learn from her, and we're just going to dive right in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Beth Foster, and I am the principal at Anderson Mill Elementary School. We serve close to 700 students here in grades K4 through 5th grade. We're in a rural area that is also a fast growing area with industry coming right along around us and lots of homes that are transforming and transitioning this area. We have an eclectic population here with the socioeconomics being more diverse and mirrored towards kind of a little bit of America. We have a good sense of community and lots of family and community engagement within our culture here at Anderson Mill.
Beth, talk to us a little bit about your basic learning model, just so folks have a sense of how things operate there.
Yeah, so here at Anderson Mill, our learning model is we formulate our ELA and our math geared towards individual student learning opportunities that are differentiated upon their needs. We also integrate our project-based learning model into our integrated science and social studies and writing standards. We operate within just that normal 7-hour day, with each child receiving something called What I Need time, which is their win time. So that's that MTSS, multi-tiered instruction, 1 hour each day, embedded into the schedule and the model of our programs and our instruction, so that children are not pulled out amongst the day for different needs. But all students participate in our PBL initiatives.
I love that. So, public elementary school, rapidly growing suburb,
Yes.
Spartanburg, South Carolina. You're leaning into the PBL work. Beth, I had a chance to visit your school last spring. I was absolutely captivated by your staff and your students, particularly the presentations that your students had prepared for me as a visitor. I think I really noticed the pride that they took in their work and was really impressed with their poise and their comfort level interacting with me, even though I was a complete stranger, right? So, which is phenomenal for, elementary age kids. One of the things that really struck me was your school's very deep commitment to making sure that you have really strong integration of English language arts skills into every project that your students do. And I wonder if you could talk for a bit about how that works there, like why the emphasis on ELA instead of, say, math or science? What does project planning and creation and design look like for your staff, and so on?
Well, one thing with back in 2018, when we were looking at what the needs were for our school, we did a survey with our staff. What is it that we want to do, so that we had that buy-in from our faculty? But you cannot do anything without also looking at data. And one of the data areas that is a continuous improvement of ours, as students learn and grow, is writing, and the writing process. And in elementary school, really continuing to keep a rich focus on literacy. So just as some other programs and schools initiatives are STEAM and STEM, science is fantastic, but sometimes you kind of tear away from that focus of ELA and writing and phonics and the balanced literacy approach. So working along with Dawn Mitchell, our director of ELA for our district, and our literacy coach, we took time to captivate and carve out team planning time with each grade level so that we could integrate the reading and writing process into PBL, and then tease in and tie in some of the topics with science and social studies.
So, I'm just meeting Beth for the first time. Scott, you've had the pleasure of going to her school, but literacy is my favorite thing. So you are speaking my language. I'm very passionate about how we have to keep doing a better job of writing and writing instruction with our kids. So that's exciting to hear about that. And you started to mention, you were saying you partnered with your ELA coordinator. So my experience in lots of different districts and different schools, sometimes that as a building principal, as a school, we sometimes don't have a strong connection with our district office or our central office staff. But it sounds like you have a strong partnership with your district office regarding the project-based learning and inquiry. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that partnership has paid off for you and the benefits of having them, central office be in your corner for this work?
Yeah, so it begins with the relationship. Dawn is just she's unique in her own character and personality to be very relational and present in the processes that come along with instruction, engagement, and teaching, not just the written formats of sending emails and sending to-do lists, and you're going to use this curriculum, and this is what the policy states. She is her commitment to our school and kids of being invested and being present physically instead of just virtually or through emails, I think has made a huge impression on her own buy-in and support towards us. That way it is reciprocated when our teachers have the ideas of, well, we're going to do the pond unit in kindergarten. There's a pond at our high school. Can we do a field trip to see the pond? Well, then you have the district office who has the resources and the leverage to make those things happen. And that's what Dawn and our district office has been such an integral part of this process to make the magic happen, that we're at the school level, we've done what we can to plan. So then it's bringing in the other components of the PBL planning that she can make happen. She's also real invested in the kids, the kids' outcome, the back ends of the accountability piece. She likes to one thing, just like with all kids, all people, we thrive on praise and words of affirmation. So whenever she can give a shout out and a positive praise about what the work is and the student work that they're doing here, that's just a great relational integral piece to the teachers to want to strive to keep the PBL going. For example, in third grade, they want to do a PBL on the Better School Lunch. And our vocational school within our district has a culinary aspect and component. So that relationship with the district office led us to partner with our culinary department at our vocational school to lead our kids into writing the menu they would like, and then Dawn in our district office communicating that with the culinary team to bring that experience of who won the Better School Lunch to all the children. So it's just that component's huge, and it just once you experience that final part of PBL, it's exciting, and then it just keeps making you want to keep going.
Nice. Beth, I love that you're already diving into some examples. Let's keep talking about some of those.
Okay.
So let's help people get a sense of the kinds of things that your students do there. What are some of the successes that you've seen there? Maybe in particular, what are some of the coolest things that you've seen your educators and students do? I mean, we are talking elementary age kids. You had family PBL night, you have ongoing stuff every semester, right? For several years. Like, give us a sense of some of the things your kids do.
Yeah, so each grade level, they do a spring PBL. With fifth grade, they incorporate their PBL with ecosystems. They take a trip to the Barrier Island, the lower coastal part of South Carolina, and incorporate that with a local author, Mary Alice Monroe's book study, The Islanders, and incorporate theirs with that. Fourth grade, they also do animals, adaptations in animals, and that's kind of what you saw last year when you came that they were working on. And they are beginning that process now with the exposure and experience starting tomorrow with going to the local zoo. So then they will take that experience and bring that on into their PBL. Third grade, they incorporate the Better School Lunch, that writing process, along with their third grade writing standards with that opinion writing, and incorporate the culinary and descriptions that come along with what that Better School Lunch would be, but also taking into aspect that at the end of that PBL is a fine dining experience. So there's also a lot of relational and etiquettes and just socialization that comes along with that project, that leads to students having an experience of sitting at a table and using manners and real silverware and glasses, and dressing a little bit nice for a nice lunch for them. Second grade, they just finished theirs on famous Americans, and had the choice and the autonomy to discover and research what famous American they wanted to incorporate and learn about, and then having the choice and the option of how they wanted their presentation to look and utilize materials, digital materials, recycled materials, and those skills that go along with that. And then first grade, they do the Crayola Recycling Initiative. So they have always partnered with Crayola, learned about recycling through South Carolina DHEC, but then taken the initiative, a school-wide community initiative, to collect old crayons and then collect them and mail them for recycling for crayons to Crayola. And then kindergarten, they do their amphibian and animal reptiles and pond unit, and they get to go on a field trip, and they get to go see a pond, and then bring all that information back to begin their research and discovery and presentations for that. Did I answer your question a little bit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
yeah, I think definitely. I mean, so I love hearing about all those different awesome projects. Now, being a fellow principal of an elementary school, though, and I know that sometimes when you try something different like this, there's challenges and there's barriers. So maybe you could just share with us, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced, and whether it was when you started kind of rolling this out, or whether even just, as each year, if there's different, things that come up that you've had to kind of work through.
Sure. So after our first year, we had the plan that we were going to do a fall PBL and a spring PBL. Well, if in any school, time is not your friend. And that, after reflection and teacher input and talking to them, it was way too much. The caliber of planning, because we integrate our related arts teachers, whether it's PE, art, music, the planning purposes of that, the research, even down to teaching some of these younger ones the technology skills that they needed to create Google Slides and things. It was we backed off of doing two big PBLs. So then we geared that towards in the fall doing a mini PBL where just that 2 week process of what that mini PBL would look like, and then getting the teacher buy-in and input that they wanted to do our PBL in the spring so that they had more time and they didn't feel that time crunch. Another thing is we're in a little shift and some challenges currently. My teachers are having to shift gears and reevaluate and rethink some of their PBL plans for the upcoming year because our standards are changing. So with that adaptation, my teachers have fourth grade asked me 2 weeks ago, they said, we need some time to plan this and restructure. So, working along with them, getting some lunch and duties covered so that they're not taking time away from their families to ensure that we are giving best practices to kids for the upcoming year and tailoring it towards our aligned standards.
Beth, I really appreciate your answer. I think a lot of people have these conceptions that if you're leaning into project and inquiry-based learning, that you're doing it all the time, every day, every minute, right? And I think what you're presenting here is that this is very nice balance of what might look like more traditional learning and teaching and schooling, right? And we also want students to have some different kind of opportunities. And what I really loved about what you just talked about is that you're also recognizing that as you balance, sort of curriculum standards and time demands and experiences you want to have for kids, you're also thinking really hard about how do you build the capacity of your students to get ready for those larger projects in the spring, right? So do some smaller work in the fall to practice some skill development, to gain some knowledge and some ways of interacting, right? They get you ready for the bigger thing. It seems really smart to me.
Well, and one thing that is really true to my beliefs and values in teaching and learning is that preparing children. Why are we in school? What is the purpose of being in school? Why are we doing this? Well, we're preparing children to be good quality citizens, to give a positive impact to our society and learning and in this world and in this country. Well, when you're doing that, what PBL incorporates are not just the academics, but the socialization and the communication skills. And it's not just public speaking or are you saying things correctly and formulating sentences and standing proper. It's not that. It's working with all kinds of people. And the thing that PBL that I have just seen, just the magic with it is that at my school, I have a plethora of learners. I have students that are in self-contained classes all the way to our gifted classes. And PBL is utilized a lot with gifted students and in gifted classes. But it's amazing to see what all students can do and their talents and their strengths coming out within PBL, no matter where they are on that learning curve and learning process. And then having the relationships and the incorporation that PBL challenges students and children to have to work and problem solve with other learners that are not like them through this process is what is just beautiful, because that is what we as adults have to do every day.
So, okay, I'm just taking it's I let everything you're saying is I'm loving it. And we've got lots of elementary school and middle school principals listening into this podcast. So this is your chance. They are listening to you right now. So what advice do you have for other school leaders who are trying to do this awesome deeper learning work?
My advice is to first give yourself grace, because it's teachers who want the control and want to be able to control the perfect die cuts or projects is that's got to go. It's going to be messy. You got to give yourself grace, and you also be very flexible. One thing about me is I am a time person, and I look at a calendar, and I need to know the time. And if I say it's got to be done in 2 weeks, it's got to be done in 2 weeks. Listen to your teachers when they say this isn't going to happen in 2 weeks. I'm going to need 4, or I'm going to need 6, or you walk into a classroom and there's paper and things going on in there, and you're like, whoa, it's okay. Just give yourself grace, give your teachers grace, and just be really flexible. But the best way to make it happen and to keep that longevity is also keeping the team approach together, that you're not showcasing one teacher or one grade level over another, that it's a school-wide community positive showcase, not just one class or teacher or grade level doing something better than the other, because it's not that. It's all individual. That's what project-based learning is about, is taking that student-led decision and making it their own of how they want to learn and lead.
Beth, I know that one of the reasons many schools and principals and classroom teachers are hesitant to head in some of these directions is because they're really worried about testing mandates and state and federal accountability and so on. Now, you're obviously a public school that has to deal with all that. How do you balance those mandates and those expectations with the more divergent, deeper learning work that you're doing with kids?
Testing is important. It is a data is important, but the most important thing about education in school are your kids, the relationships you have with your kids, and and how they learn, and what is it that they're going to remember and recall. Because I don't know of anybody that can sit back and think about their elementary days and say, tell me what was fun or what you learned. And they're going to say, when I took that test, when I studied for that test. If it's a natural and organic process of learning, then it's aligned with your instruction and your tier 1 standards, then the assessments and the testing and the data will also increase.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we could talk all afternoon with you, Beth, and I want to come to your school. I'm gonna have to figure out if I can make that happen from, up here in
Yes.
Massachusetts down to South Carolina. I'm sure it's a lot warmer down there for sure. Um, but thank you so much, for sharing your school story and for doing this incredibly awesome, important work with kids, especially at the elementary level. I feel like it's so important, what you started with saying about just the importance of embedding ELA and reading and writing work throughout everything they're doing, but also just giving them the chance to every kid, no matter their age or their ability level, to be able to really feel proud of the work and the learning that they're doing is incredible. So kudos to you and your staff. So thank you all for listening into this episode of NASP's Principal Podcast. I do want to put a little plug here at the end, because if you aren't already registered for the United Conference that is happening this summer in July 15th, 16th, and 17th, it is in Nashville, Tennessee. Scott and I are going to be there. I mean, if that's not reason enough to come, there's going to be so many other amazing presenters and our keynote speakers. We have John Gordon. So all of those of my Energy Bus fans, he's going to be there. We're very excited to have Rahima Ellis, who is the chief education correspondent for NBC News, is going to be there. I know I just heard that one of the luncheon speakers is going to be Todd Whitaker. I got to hear him last weekend. He is amazing. always keeps you laughing and sharing some awesome things about advice for working with teachers and students. So if you haven't registered yet, do it. It's combined NAESP with NASSP. So, pre-K to 12 leaders from across the country. It will be such an awesome event. So hope to see you all there. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of NAESP's Principal Podcast.